Okay, so today we're going to learn how to read a dataset into R. So the very first thing we're going to do is create a folder, and it's going to be called coding. Let's see, it'll be R underscore coding class, coding underscore class underscore 2023. And then we're going to go ahead and go into R, and we'll go ahead and exit out of everything here. File, new project. That's the very first thing you're going to do when you get started on something. And we're going to say existing directory. And then we're going to go ahead and go to browse, and we'll go to desktop. Udemy class, R coding class 2023. That's the folder we just created. So we're going to say open, and then we're going to say create project. That takes a second, but here we are. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and click on this, because that will divide your screen. Up here is where we write our code, and then down here is the console. We also have the terminal. And then on the right hand side we have our environment where all of our variables will show up, and then down here we can see plots, we have our files, and basically you have your little house here, that's home, and we're basically at the desktop in our R coding class 2023 folder. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and hit more, and then we're going to say set as working directory. So now anything that we save, like any graphs or pictures or anything, they will automatically save into this folder. And the next thing we're going to do is, this is what we're working with here, this file, and it's untitled right now, so we need to save it as a name. So we'll click save, and we'll say Udemy. That's the company that I purchased the class from, Udemy, R.1 dot RMD. Okay, save. The file was created as an R script, and now however the file extension you specified will change it into another file type. That's fine. So yes. Okay, but I personally don't like writing scripts. I feel like those are for when you're more advanced. So since we are all beginning, we're going to go ahead and go to File, New File, and we're going to say R Markdown. And the title is just going to be the same. It'll just be R.1.RMD. And we're going to say default output format. It can be HTML. I like PDF. We'll just say PDF. Say OK. Okay. And so this is a notebook. This is an R Markdown notebook. And I like this because you can see here, this is one chunk, and here's another chunk. I like doing everything in chunks. So we're just going to delete all that. We don't need it. We'll delete all of this. We don't need it. And then, yeah, so we can start here. Okay, so to start a new chunk, or to create a new chunk, you just go Control-Alt-I, Control-Alt-I, and you want to type it within the chunk, like within right here. So, like that. So the next thing we're doing is we're going to www.superdatascience.com-pages-our course, and it'll bring you here to where we have a bunch of data sets. You go to section 1, hit the ground running, and you download this mispriced diamonds data set. And then you can go ahead and open it up, and this is what it looks like. There are 3 columns, one for carat, one for clarity, and one for price. And in terms of rows, there's like 50,000 rows. So now we're going to go ahead and read it into R. So now we're just reading it in. So I'm calling it my data. That's the name of the variable. That's what we're choosing to call the data set. The arrow just says that that's what we're assigning whatever this is. So we're just giving it a name. We're calling it my data. The function that we're using is read.cvs. So that's how we read a comma separated file. And then the argument we're using is file.choose. So this is supposed to bring up a pop-up window that allows us to go into our computer and choose whatever file we want to bring in or read into R. Okay, so here I have, I added this comment. So you just put a hashtag, and whenever you put a hashtag, anything that you write, those are notes for you and for other people that you're working with to know what you're talking about. So this is how you read in a data set. You just, again, my data, that's what we are calling it. The arrow, that's what we're assigning, whatever this is. And then this is the function that we're using, read.csv. So a comma separated file, you read it in this way. And you just say file.choose, that's the argument. And then when you run this, a little box will show up to ask you what file you want to select to bring in. So here it is down there. For some reason, everything changed to Spanish for me. I don't even understand half of it, but basically this is the box, and it's asking me where the CSV document is. So I'm going to go to downloads, and this was it, the mispriced diamonds. So I'm just going to select it and click open. And then here in your environment is everything that you bring in, all the variables that you create and any data sets that you bring in. So we basically brought in that data set and we decided to call it my data. And that's why we use that arrow to assign this data set to the variable my data. And so it has 53,940 observations. Those are just the rows, and it's got 3 variables, and those are the columns. Okay, so the titles of the columns are like the most important thing, because that's what we're going to use to make all of our graphs and to organize our data however we want. So the first column is carat, the second column is clarity, and the third column is price. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to install our libraries or packages. That's where we get all of our functions from to do really cool stuff. So right here, it just says install.packages. If it's the first time that you're using that package, you have to install it first, and you just put it in quotes, like whatever the name of the package. I already have this package in. You only have to install it once. Once you've already installed it one time, even if it was months ago, all you have to do is call it. And the way that you do that is by typing library and then the name of the package, GG. Okay, and then it shows up, so that's great. That means you do have it. Okay, and then you just press Control Enter to run only that line, because we don't want to run the entire chunk right now, because we already ran like this one. And so now our library is in, we have ggplot2. Okay, so now we're just gonna create a little plot, and we're doing that because we inserted this package ggplot2, and that's to make plots. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. So you just type in ggplot, and then data is equal to, so data is the argument that you need to fill in. So data is equal to my data. Remember, we chose to name our data set my data. And then here with the brackets, we're just selecting, like we're providing special instructions about one of the columns. We're saying in my data, $sign. The $sign is just how you access one of the columns. So if you remember, we have 3 columns. We have, caret, we have clarity, and we have price. So we're saying for the column caret, make sure it's less than 3.0. That's all we want to keep from that column. And then we have a comma, and after the comma we have the, the first location before the comma is the rows. So remember, there's like 50,000 rows. So we are keeping any row where the caret is less than 3.0. If it is more than 3.0, we're going to exclude it. Now in terms of column, we left that blank, so that means that we're taking all of the columns. And then we put comma, and then we start on the next argument in this ggplot function. So this next argument is called aesthetics, and it's just AES. And this is where we get to tell R how we want, like what we want on the x-axis and which column we want on the y-axis. So x is equal to price. So we're telling R, okay, on the x-axis, we want this column, price. All of these numbers are going to be on the x-axis. And then we're going to say caret is going to be our y-axis. So we're telling R all of these numbers are going to be our y-axis. And clarity is going to be the color. So that our graph is going to be color-coded by clarity. Okay, and then we're adding another layer to this graph, so you just put a little plus, and then this is geom point, so that's just a variable, and here we're telling R that we want a scatter plot. That's why it says point. It's just going to be a lot of points, like every number is going to be a point on the graph. Alpha is equal to 0.1. I think that's just the size of the dot. And then plus geom smooth, and I think that just like smooths it out. So here I'm going to highlight what I want to run. And then that was just control. Enter. And so it's running the code right now. And you can tell that it's running because this is green. Once it runs that code, the color goes away. And then down here, you'll also see a red stop sign. That means that your code is running. You can't run another chunk or anything like that while the code is running. And then it's done. And then here's our graph, and it's really cool. You can see, actually, if you go here on the right hand side, you can click on plots. And okay, it's really slow for me, but you can click on plots and you can see it a little bit bigger, or you can say show a new window. And it takes a second to like smooth out, but basically we have price on the x-axis, that's what we told it to do, and then we have caret on the y-axis, and then everything is color-coded by clarity. So you can see they gave us a little legend for clarity. Okay, it's smooth now. So they gave us a legend for clarity, and so basically the red line is the most clear, and then as you go down the colors, down the legend, this is less clear, so the diamonds would be more opaque. And you can see that, yeah, the red line here is like most clear. So yeah, and that's how you read in a data set and then start manipulating it in R. Now, just like we read in this package that's called ggplot2, that allows us to have a lot of really cool functions for plotting things, there's also a lot more packages available to us. And one of my favorites is dplyr, and that one is for data manipulation. So this was just a quick intro into how to create a new project and how to read in a data set and then how to start manipulating it. So don't forget to save it. I went ahead and saved it with the same name that I had used earlier, and then I just replaced the earlier file. But every time that I do something that works, like a code chunk that works, I go ahead and save it. And that way you don't lose any of your data.